Welcome back to ReadingBear. Today, we will take a look at some new IDoWorkHereLady stories. And if you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comments. Let's go!
The next one is titled, I don't work for them. I work for him. I'm an apprentice in carpentry, in my last year now and having a ball. My boss is chill and I'm on great terms with him. First name base, private number, you name it. So we were at this new building site. I was dressed in my brown work trousers, white shirt and work shoes, you know, the ones with steel caps and that stuff. Now this'll be explained later, but remember this detail. So we were working there and moving some furniture around and building a few stuff and laying the floor like we carpenters usually do. Now I never met the owners of this property, and from what I heard they were very wealthy because they bought the building for around €1 million. Yes, I'm European, no I won't convert it because I'm too lazy and have no clue about the exchange rates. Anyways, back to the story. So my boss had to leave and help out our co-worker, so I was left alone doing the flooring, and once I finished I took my lunch break. Which I have to, by law, and my boss told me I should do it whilst he's out. And oh boy. I bet you all can imagine what happened. I went outside, sat on the sidewalk, got out my sandwich and a cigarette and started to, well, take a break. The painters were still working since they apparently took their break an hour before I did. The owner was there before and saw the painters eating and taking their break, which is fine. Legally we all have to do it. So it goes like this. This lady, let's call her Mrs. M, came to look at the site again and saw me. Walked over to me and in a very unlikely manner tried to get my attention by clearing her throat. I looked up and the conversation went as following. Me, UHM. Hello miss, can I help you? Mrs. M, yes you can. You can stop sitting on your lazy butt and get back to work. Mind you, I was 10 minutes in my break and still had 20 minutes to go. Sadly yes, I'm very specific with my break times, and that because I love getting my job done. Me, UHM, miss. I'm taking my break. Mrs. M, you took it an hour ago. I want to talk with your boss on how lazy you painters are. It then finally clicked. She thought I was a painter. Mind you, I did have paint on my shirt and trousers from the day before because we were painting furniture. Me, I am deeply sorry miss, but I think you have me confused. Mrs. M, I certainly do not. You better get back to work or I will not be paying for your work. Me, miss. I really don't work. Mrs. M, course you do. Now call your boss. I'll be having a word with him now. She angrily said all that. I mean, sure, they were paying a big sum of money and I was really tired from kneeling all day long, but I took out my phone, dialed my boss, which we will be calling K now. Me, hey K, seems like I have a problem here and you need to talk with someone. K, hey Mooney. What's wrong? You good with work? Have you taken your break? Me, yeah, everything is fine. Just finished laying the floor you told me to do and I'm 10 minutes into my break. Just the owner I think thinks I'm a painter. K, just put her on the phone with me. It then finally clicked with the owner's head when I told my boss. She started to blush but took my phone off of me and talked with my boss Mrs. M. Hey K, I'm so sorry. I thought your worker was slacking off since he is outside eating and not working. I thought he was a worker. Yes, it's not a problem. I know they have to take their legal breaks. No, it's all sorted. She then looked at me and gave back my phone. Apologized profusely and offered me a cup of coffee as an apologize, and me being me didn't turn it down. I mean, free coffee and also at the house instead of walking 10 minutes to a store to find a coffee store. No way am I letting that go. She wasn't a Karen, nor was she exactly rude. Just puzzled and confused. She was very polite afterwards and we talked a bit, so no harm done. Though I did nearly get a panic attack and anxiety attack, but that's for another time with my health issues. The next one is titled, Supervisor Karen doesn't understand that I do work here. So this will be my first post here. I was explaining this to a few friends and they suggested that I go and post this here. Let's get some of the basics out of the way. Me, myself, K, Supervisor Karen, FM, Field Manager, PO1, Police Officer Number 1, PO2, Police Officer Number 2, PS, Police Sergeant, F, Friendly Coworker, Prologue. Alright, so the story starts off with myself and my coworker. At the time we both worked in California in G4S Guards 4 Service, which is a pretty big security company. I was on graveyard, and at the time, this wasn't my main post I was at. I was just sent here to give a hand with a guard that called off, and apparently the supervisor wasn't given any information on my arrival. Main story, this was before WOWOD was a thing, back in 2019. It was peak season in November, and I was a guard that was asked to come take up a post at the Farmer Joe's Distribution Center in Bloomington, California. It was a graveyard post, and my friend that knew for years had been working at this post. Now the field manager had called me in and asked me if I could work here for the night, which at the time I didn't mind taking the extra overtime. After I was shown around at the time by the shift supervisor that was there, I was let off to go about my business like any other person. It was a 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. shift. Yes, 10 hours, yay. It all started around 1 a.m. when the head supervisor came, which in the company is known as a post commander, and all guards are required to call the post commander by their rank, which is captain. I refused to call someone CPT unless they served. Me, minding my own business in the Trader Joe's yard, helping trucker back into their gates, until I heard someone coming up behind me and all suddenly hearing a yelling. K, excuse me, who the duck are you? Me, my name is Kyle, nice to meet you. I was told to come work this shift by another manager. K, no, I asked for someone specifically, I didn't ask for a fat ass like yourself. Me, now at this moment in time, I was getting very pissed off because of her general rudeness and questioning in my mind, someone specific? Well, they sent me, and I'm sorry you didn't get who you wanted, but I am only here to do a job that the FM, field manager, has sent me out to do. K, well, you can kindly escort yourself off the property for trespassing, as I did not request you to come to my site, mister. Otherwise you'll leave me no choice but to call the police. Me, sorry, but as required by the FM I am to stay at the post until the end of my shift. I was asked to do a job and I will be doing job regardless. You can call the police if you want, I'll call the field managers. Now I was pissed and wanted nothing more from her, but she actually did go away and called the police on me. They showed up roughly 30 minutes later. PO1 shows up with partner, which is PO2. What's the commotion all about? Me, sir, if I may. Before I could continue, the PC shouted out to the cops and interrupted me talking. K, officers, you need to arrest this man immediately. He threatened to kill me with a knife, and HES trespassing on this property. Me, I gave a massive sigh, as both the officers were confused because I am clearly wearing a G4S standard issue uniform that has all the patches on the uniform, but because they heard knife, this is what happened. PO2 pulls out handgun, on the ground now, hands behind your back. PO1, he follows by placing handcuffs on me. Me, now even though I'm restrained, the second officer still has his gun pointed at me like I'm an active threat with metal cuffs on me. I'm not going to lie, I nearly shat myself cause I thought I was going to get shot for no reason. I did indeed have a pocket knife on me, but that was mainly because I had a backpack full of munchies that I used the knife to open the bags with, but it was literally a keychain pocket knife. PO1 searches my pockets and finds the knife, and escorts me back to the vehicle, where I am then placed in the back of the vehicle, still in handcuffs. F, at this point in time, my friend comes to see what the commotion is all about. Hey officers, what's going on here? PO1, Mr. Myself, is being placed under arrest for possession of a deadly weapon, and charged with threatening that woman over there of killing her. HES also charged with trespassing. F, wait, what? Deadly weapon are you talking about? And he would never threaten someone's life even if he hated them. HES not that kind of person that would want that to happen, and HES not trespassing. He was asked to come work here. PO1, well, that woman over there claims that he threatened her, and that HES trespassing on this property. F, sir, I can assure you that none of this is true. He was called up on his day off to come down here and work. If he wasn't supposed to be working, he wouldn't be here. PO1, well, if you can find me the evidence that supports these claims, then I will release him. Until then, it's a he said, she said situation, and he did have a knife on him. Me, still sitting in the back of the car, with the door opened, I asked my coworker to call the field manager and have her come down here immediately. I also told him to grab the Trader Joe's manager to pull surveillance tapes, as where I was standing with the supervisor, there was a camera there with audio. F. He pulled out his phone and called the field manager, and told her of the situation, then he rushed inside to grab the building manager. PO1 and PO2, both are talking with the Karen, a little bit away from the vehicle, and I can barely hear, but I guess one of the police officers called for a supervisor of their own. P.S. Shortly a second police car shows up and it's the police sergeant. He came to the window where I was sitting patiently and waiting, and asks my side of the story, and I told him everything. FM. Finally the field manager shows up with our office's regional director. F. Comes outside with the manager of the building. Everyone pretty much calmly talks at this point, since there were so many stories being thrown around. FM. Myself. Why are you in the back of the police car? Me. Well, that's why I had friend call you, is because that psycho witch decided to have the cops called on me for trespassing, and added an extra decision by telling the cops that I threatened her with a knife. FM and director both look towards the police and gets their attention. Director: officers, this is all a big misunderstanding. Myself was called on his day off to come work at this post, as per asked by field manager. PS. Alright, well that doesn't explain the threat with the knife. Manager of building: I can take you inside, where I can show you the cameras which have audio recording. Police sergeant and building manager goes inside to look over the footage. Now at this point in time, you can see Karen ducked up, because she turns pale ducking white, knowingly she's just gotten herself in trouble. PS. Returns and pulls myself out of the car, and takes the handcuffs off of me, then hands me back my knife and my backpack. Alright, I've reviewed the footage, and there is no hostile threats from you. All charges are going to be dropped, and you're free to go. Me. Thank you officer, I appreciate your assistance with this matter. PS. Walks over to Karen, and places handcuffs on her. Karen: you're under arrest for lying to law enforcement, filing a false police report, and calling for false emergency. After the whole situation went down, the stupid dumbass Karen went to jail that night. I didn't ever see her again. I went to a meeting with my manager, the field manager and the director. They told me the situation had been handled, and offered me the post commander position there. I asked what happened to Karen, even though I really didn't care. They told me she was released the next day and completely fired and banned from ever applying with G4S. I then turned down the request for post commander as the drive alone would kill my gas. 2 weeks later, I left G4S, got a better paying post in Allied Universal, and the drive was 3x closer than my last post. Plus I've decided it was time. I went back to college and am now working on my bachelor's degree in aerospace engineering. Lesson to be learned here: never take it over the edge until you've gotten the information and facts first. The next one is titled, Don't Judge, Just Talk. I am doing an apprenticeship in carpentry but have a lot of side jobs for my income as well. Which all have great stories, I think. Or I just like the sound of my own voice, so it could be that too. I try not to exaggerate and keep it all down to earth. Now back to the story. I also work as a photographer and did have a few gigs here and then. Model agencies, brands, weddings, just random stuff with good pay, I think. Keeps me afloat with my expensive hobby. Anyways, I had this client who messaged me on Instagram, asking for a meeting for a photo shoot for herself, daughter and friends, so I of course said sure. I'm free on Thursday, and we arranged the time and the normal stuff for it. Now I was quite scruffy and had to rush since I was in the workshop and still had my work clothes on me and had no time to change. No, I still can't drive, nor is it that important in Germany, since you can get anywhere on public transport. Well, nearly anywhere. Now I arrived in the photo studio, which kind of is mine now since I've rented it out so much. This lady comes in and here it goes. Cast: me equals is me obviously. K equals the entitled woman who thinks she's better than anyone. MA equals model agent who I know quite well now. M equals model who I'm good friends with. Story: so I set up the meeting with chairs and a table and some water. Then she walked in. Well, walking is a bit of an extreme word. She kind of strutted in like she owned the place. Me: hello Miss K, you're here for the meeting, right? K: of course, but who are you? I'm meeting with a professional photographer, not a low worker. I knew he was going to be late. What was I thinking on taking my daughter's advice? Teenagers nowadays, I guess. Me: I nod silently, listening to her ranting, and I softly reply, I'm the photographer, miss, you see. K interrupts me. You. Ha, as if. Boy, you may want to get your mental health checked. Because the photographer I'm meeting you couldn't afford, and no way would he wear something like that. Points at my clothes. What are you? A wannabe photographer? As if. Me, kind of upset because I love my work and always feel very insecure about all of stuff. As I was saying, I got off my work and couldn't change clothes. I am your photographer. K cuts me off again. I don't believe you. I want to speak to your boss. Have him fire you. Yes. You see, I'm a very famous model. And she couldn't get another sentence out, as the door opened up again and M came in, both quite famously known around my area, and greeted me politely. K, you know this scruffy dude? M, why yes, he is my friend and photographer. K, him? A photographer? That I don't laugh. I mean look at him. All scruffy and dirty. I mean look at me. I'm a bloody model from XYZ model agency. I earn good money and don't need my time wasted by this insolent child. Yes, I agree with her. I am a child, I guess. I shaved my little beard I had off the day before since it was itching, and people always tell me, with beard I look like 23 and without I look like 15. I'm 18, so I get it. But still, rude, right? Miss. I work at the XYZ model agency and I've definitely never seen you around. He is one of the best photographers we have. Sure, he may not look the part, but he has talent. Me, of course, being me, starts blushing because I can't take compliments at all. K, as if. I know the owner of the model agency and will have all three of you sacked. I was sweating bullets now. If I got sacked from this agency, I'd lose a lot of my income. And I know the owner as well and all his friends, and since I'm the owner, I definitely don't know you. Then it started. The shouting. Which frightens the hell out of me. Most models and friends, co-workers, etc. know I get into a nervous wreck when there's shouting, so the model started comforting me whilst the MA started glaring at the woman. K, you are not the owner and I know him. I am his girlfriend. And K couldn't speak further as MA flowered at her. MA, are you saying I'm cheating on my wife? If you do not believe me, then here is my business card, but now get the hell out of here. We will not ever hire you, and I for sure know he won't take your contract. Points at me because you're a rude witch. Unpolite and a menace. Now out. The MA thrusts his business card out to her, showing her the photo of himself on the card and then pointing at the door. The woman started sputtering but left. Is this the end of the story? No. After all that ordeal, I got comforted by them and they said they will do the business meeting some other time. A few days have passed and I go back to work. In carpentry. As I was sanding something down, we heard a cough at the entrance of the workshop. Well, look here. It's K again. Now, since I'm on very good terms with my boss and we tell each other stories, I told him the story on what happened and I started shaking. My boss saw this and looked at her and then at me. He had this look of, this here? And I nodded slowly and nervous. A lump forming in my throat because, well, I already knew what was happening. So he went over to K and, well, all hell broke loose. In a quiet manner to start with. Cast me equals me, of course. K equals which ass woman again. O equals my boss. CW equals co-worker. Oh, how can we help you, miss? K, I'd like a table done. Fast. When is the next opportunity? Oh, in 3 weeks. We are fully booked out. K, what? No. I'll let you know I'm a very high up person and need this done as soon as possible. Oh, and as I said, in 3 weeks. But also, we will not take the contract since it's all up to the worker. He then pointed at me, I gulped slightly and the woman looked at me. She then finally realized who I was and started looking at my boss. K, I know him. No. I won't have my stuff touched by this menace. You need to fire him. IMMEDIALTY. He is incompetent and is going behind your back and working for someone else. Oh, I know what happened. I also know that he is the most competent person here who can do those sorts of tables, since I have no experience with those tables and the CW also doesn't have a clue. Which was true. It was an old table with a few designs in it where you really have to be careful on sanding it. So I was happy that I wasn't useless. K, I don't care. He is rude and young. How dare you hire someone like that? All the commotion brought in the other workers from the other businesses in the same building. One of them, a friend of mine who is 6 foot tall, muscular and had a ton of tattoos, looked at me and then at her, who was pointing a finger at me all through her rant and then back at me. Finally he turned to the woman and took a step forward. We will call my friend F now. F, is there a problem F? Because you're being awfully rude to my friends. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Unless you still have business. He looked at my boss and he shook his head saying no. He then slowly ushered the woman out, as she paled, seeing a tall muscular hunk of a man standing over her mere 5 foot. She rushed out and I've never heard from her since. Moral of the story? Never judge a person by the looks. Because I could have easily gotten her a discount for her table if she worked with me. Got my MA a slight discount whilst they refurbished their office, so it wouldn't have been a problem. The next one is titled, You're Not Asian, and You're a Girl. This is not a particular story, just a brief compilation of what I've gone through over the last 25 years or so. For background, I am a tall, pale-skinned redhead, a female, and have earned a PhD in chemical engineering. My name also happens to be Kim. I try not to go by Kimberly as it is the first step in being my angry name. If an adult shouted Kim, I knew that it was mild, but if it was Kimberly, I knew I was in trouble. The more names they added, the more I knew I was in trouble. First name plus middle name was bad, first name plus middle name plus last name meant there was hell to pay. So a lot of times when people come to see me, I have gotten a lot of, I thought you were Asian. What about my last name made you think I was Asian, or my favorite, you're a woman in this position? Or even, I don't need any help, the receptionist is going to go get Dr. Brett for me. When I tell them that I am Dr. Brett, they quickly apologize and say something like, I'm sorry, you're not what I was expecting. Seeing as they are already uncomfortable at this time, I choose not to ask what they were expecting and just get on with the work they are there to see me about. My husband and I often joke about how he's the chef and I'm the engineer, and people tend to expect the opposite. Sorry, just a rant while I have the day off, but don't we all have the day off these days? The next one is titled, I do work here, why are you acting so entitled? I decided to share a story of when I actually worked at my dad's restaurant. Just a quick recap, my dad owns a restaurant in China that also has a bakery. I am trying to keep everything as vague as possible because of privacy reasons. This event took place last summer. I was actually hired by my dad to help the 2 ladies in the bakery. I was getting paid. We are going to call them Susan and Lindsay. Now, this bakery isn't like most others because this one focuses on cakes and other desserts. People could throw parties at the restaurant and chose a deal that comes with a cake, birthdays, graduations, reunions, anniversaries. Parents could also drop their kids off to learn how to make cookies or cakes. One day, I was in the bakery with the AC on, relaxing and minding my business. It is hot in China, especially in the summer, when a woman walks up to the bakery wearing all black. How does she survive in all black at like 40 degrees? For now, we are going to call her Karen, like last time. Quick note, Susan was off buying more creme at the market nearby and I had no idea where Lindsay went. Okay, not even looking at me. I want a triple layer cake by 6 o'clock tonight and I want to drop my daughter for a lesson. She can help make the cake. Then she looked at me and did a double, probably because I looked too young to be there. Also, I wanted to make clear that she did not choose the celebration deal because if she did, the manager would tell me and people usually order those a few days in advance. Me, great ma'am, that should be around 450 yuan in total. Because she is a customer of the restaurant, she was drinking tea with a huge group of people, she gets a discount for the cake and lessons. Okay, you must be lying. I know it doesn't cost that much, I am a paying customer. You probably don't even work here, you only look like you are in high school. Me, yes ma'am, I do work here and because you are a customer, you actually get a discount. This is the lowest price. Okay, I know the owner, he said to give me a lower price. Then, the memories of last time hits me. I was angry, very angry. But I still put on my best customer service smile, hoping that Susan would come back soon. Me, ma'am, you need some proof that the owner said to give you a discount and he needs to tell me. Okay, no, I don't need to. Who do you think you are? I do not trust you. You're probably here to scam me. Me, ma'am, calm down. Kay looks at her phone and fakely gasps, the owner is on a business trip and he said I can have a discount. I knew it was bull because my dad was up on the 3rd floor playing mahjong. Me, ma'am, can you please give me proof? K, no me, then unfortunately I can't do anything. Luckily, at this point Susan finally came back. S, hi, can I help you with anything? K, yes, I want a triple layer cake and my daughter to take a lesson today, but this child is pretending that she works here and giving me an unreasonable price. S, ma'am, she does work here and the total price is around 500 yuan. I didn't even correct her about the price because Karen was being so rude to me. K, B, but she said it was 450 yuan. S, oh, she must have got confused, it's actually 500 yuan. Susan looked at me with a smirk. Karen grumbles and agrees to pay that much. Her daughter later came and was also very stuck up, but only to me. She acted like she knew everything about baking but didn't even know what goes into a cake. I don't blame her because she was raised by a pretty crazy person. Honestly, the amount of people who pretend that they know the owner surprises me, although these two events happened a few years apart. Thank you for reading this long story. Have a nice day.